I think on the surface, Chinatown is very much a space where like we go to hang out, see our friends, meet our family, but like beneath that, like underneath the surface of it, you realize that Chinatown is more of like a tight-knit community where like even if you don't know everyone there, you recognize the faces, you recognize the shop owners, and like just that recognition you have and like that connection and loyalty you have to certain shops really brings a community together. And I think that's like something that is really important to our Chinatown and something that just like keeps people coming back.
Yeah, and I can add, almost 20 years ago, Asian Americans United founded a school, which is my background today. So it's a folk art school really focused on not only quality education for immigrant students and students of color, but also focused on like artistic creativity that's often marginalized, not valued, right? Like a lot of the history of Chinatown is about folks being pushed outside of the mainstream, folks being devalued for not speaking the right language, etc. So, Chinatown really represents a refuge for a lot of people.
Yeah, I mean, they said all the good things. I think what's so special about Philly's Chinatown is how tight-knit it is, like Faye said. It's not like super big in actual like size compared to some other Chinatowns, but we have big hearts. And what's always been really magical about it is the tradition of resistance in it too. Like Vivian said, they opened a school there that was instead of what could have been a parking lot for a stadium. And it really shows in the culture of Chinatown when you're there that like everyone is there to stay. Um, yeah.
Absolutely. And I've visited Chinatown so many times, and I love the authenticity of just everything that's there. Vivian, we've taken a walk through it, and you've shown me a lot of things there, and it really does seem like it's really close knit, and that there's just everything there to where you don't even have to leave the neighborhood, which is, what we definitely promote with a lot of the 15-minute city, to where you can have everything within a 15-minute walk of you. And it seems like with everything, like with such a density of everything, with all of the transit that just is right in the middle of that. It seems like it's right for like a community that where you can really be who you are, and especially as someone who is Asian, like that. It seems like it's a really huge center for that. Wonderful. Well, I wanted to also just kind of put into the history of Chinatown. Vivian, you've shown me a lot as far as the resistance, in question of everything that Chinatown has been hit by within previous years. Can you give us a little bit of a backstory of like every single proposal that has been to this point been pushed on Chinatown?
Right. Yeah, and it's not a short list. So I think to talk about that, we have to start with the history of Chinatown. So our Philly Chinatown is more than 150 years old, and it was actually founded by Chinese immigrants escaping the West Coast due to race riots and lynchings. So when we think about Chinatown, it's not just some neutral, touristy place, just like Faye and Maria are talking about. Like people think it's one thing, but it's like literally like a safe space for folks in Philly. And it was, founded in Center City back then when it wasn't valuable land, right? There's this whole history of like urban centers being seen as dangerous, being literally racialized ghettos, and our Chinatown was no different. So for a long, long time, it was just kind of unwanted land. It's the only place where a lot of folks could work because there were Chinese exclusion laws, there were racial restrictions on property ownership, on literally the occupations they could have. So then, over time, everyone returns back to the cities and thinks it's great, right? This is our whole, history of those inner rings of cities. And suddenly Chinatown becomes valuable land. So in the 60s, Philly was no stranger to urban renewal, as we say, the same way a lot of cities across this country were. So there's, a multi-lane expressway that cuts right through Chinatown. So we used to be one neighborhood. You could walk everywhere very safely. And now, like, we have literal like children who find it very dangerous. Like they have to cross, I think it's like 8 lanes or 7 lanes of the Vine Street Expressway. And a lot of folks like, it's just not enough time to make it across. And so the thing about that though is like that was the first time that Chinatown was targeted, but also Chinatown fought back. So there's a lot of folks who were involved in the first Save Chinatown effort to save Holy Redeemer, which is a church that's still standing today. And at the time, it was literally the only community center for folks in Chinatown, and the expressway would have just completely destroyed it. So, you know, the expressway was put in, but folks were able to at least shrink it and save the playground and the school that's attached. You know, and then like, what is it, like 20 years later, the convention center comes in. So the Pennsylvania Convention Center, which is located in Philadelphia, also went through and destroyed 200 homes and businesses. So that was like a huge loss. It cuts off the western boundary of Chinatown. And then after that, things just start speeding up and heating up. A federal prison was slated for Chinatown. Then the stadium fight that Maria was talking about. So that was 2000. So the prison was 92, stadium was 2000, and then 2008 and 2013, the city tried to put 2 casinos in Chinatown. And none of these things really seem like they help families or working class folks, right? They're just making money for, you know, developers, making money for different folks, or literally making money off of incarcerating Black and brown people. So each time Chinatown successfully fought back. So we've been developing that resistance muscle and strength. But it's a lot, you know, now it's like right, that's like almost every 5-10 years that Chinatown has had to fight something off. So here we are again, you know, in 2022, the arena was announced with a campaign that said that the Sixers would be a good neighbor to Chinatown. And I don't know what neighbor wants to like destroy literally my home in existence, but we did not see it that way.
Absolutely. Maria and Faye, like, tell us a little bit about growing up in finding community within an area like Chinatown. Like Maria, I've visited the Ginger Art Center, and I thought it was an amazing place, and especially like with my years with organizing, like a place where I could come and I have play like things to where I can create flyers. I have places to create meetings. Like, what does it mean to have a place like that, and especially a place for people who are young and in organizing like this?
Um, it's been like so refreshing to have that place now, and it's something that I know has been in conversation amongst people whenever we talk about what else would we want other than an arena in Chinatown. Like a community center has always been one of the top things in conversations, and actually seeing it come into fruition has been like I feel so blessed to like see it from like the bare bones of the building when it was still there wasn't even a floor in it, to having like all the furniture and all the people come in and people talk about how homey it feels and how much they um adore that we have like a community, and they're a part of that community too, and it's really nice to welcome people into it. And I think growing up in Philly, Chinatown's always a place where youth go to. It's one of the last places that youth can go to nowadays in public because of restrictions on malls. Minors can't go into a lot of our malls. So Chinatown's always been a place where a lot of youth gather, and I think Ginger Arts Center was such a it just feels so magical and like unreal half the time when I'm there. I think that we have like a real physical third space to be in, that does so much for the community as well. Like we have workshops and we have a library and we have so many art supplies, and it's really feels really good to be a part of it. Yeah.
Absolutely. Faye, this is for you. Like, how has a space like Ginger Arts Center or even like a campaign like this empowered you to be in spaces like this or to even be in organizing like this?
Yeah, so I think organizing was always something I was interested in when I was young, but like actually having the resources to be able to do that and like seeing Chinatown be so welcoming towards youth and like really wanting to get youth involvement really like just inspired me more to want to be involved, because something like when Vivian was listing all of those fights that Chinatown has experienced, like every single one of those has included youth. Like since the beginning, during the Vine Street Expressway, there's like an iconic photo of like children who went to Holy Redeemer school like